Hi friends, it's Jasmine, and if you're new here, I'm a local realtor serving the Southwest Washington and Portland metro area. If you're thinking about selling your current home and buying a new one, especially here in Vancouver, Washington, or nearby Clark County suburbs, I want to personally invite you to reach out. You can call me, text me, email me. I'm here to help, and I genuinely love walking people through this process. And if you're just starting to wrap your head around how to time everything right, I've linked my buyer and seller questionnaire down in the description to help you get organized with your next steps. I've helped quite a few folks who needed to sell one home and buy another, sometimes in the same neighborhood, sometimes across state lines, and I know how much strategy, trust, and timing it really takes. It's not just about finding the right house or getting the right offer, it's about making all the puzzle pieces line up without losing your mind in the process. So, if you've been wondering, how do I sell and buy a home at the same time without everything falling apart? You're in the right place. Let's walk through it together. Before we talk about how to buy and sell at the same time, we've got to talk about the Vancouver, Washington real estate market, because understanding the pace and behavior of the local market is one of the biggest keys to making this transition smoothly. Based on the most recent RMLS data for Clark County, over the past 60 days, homes are selling very quickly, with an average of just 7 days on market and a median of 5 days. That's a clear sign that demand is still strong and that well-priced homes are moving fast. The average sold price for detached single-family homes during that same 60-day period is around $604,000, while the median sales price sits at just $574,000. If you're shopping in neighborhoods like Philida, Salmon Creek, East Vancouver, or Ridgefield, chances are you'll be looking at homes priced even higher, especially if you're in the market for a large 3 or 4 bedroom home with updated finishes or newer construction. What's also important to know is that homes are still selling for just over asking price, with a sale to list price ratio averaging right around 100%. This isn't a full-blown bidding war environment like we saw in 2021, but it does mean sellers are getting close to or slightly above list price, particularly in the $500,000 to $700,000 range. As a seller, that's great news, but it also means you need to price strategically and prep your home properly to compete. And as a buyer, you'll want to come in prepared and realistic. Homes are moving fast and clean offers still matter. All of this plays into your strategy when you're trying to sell and buy at the same time. The pace of the market means you'll need a solid plan from the very beginning, because timing everything right is key. Whether you're listing first, buying contingent, or trying to juggle both simultaneously, you're not just a buyer or seller, you're both. And when those timelines are aligned well, that's when this whole process starts to feel smooth instead of stressful. One of the most common routes people take when they're trying to buy and sell at the same time is what's called a contingent offer. This just means you write an offer on a new home, but it's contingent on your current home selling and closing first. So basically you're saying, I want to buy this home, but only if I'm able to sell mine in time and access the funds. Now this is a totally normal strategy, and I've helped clients go this route successfully. It works best when your current home is already listed, already under contract, or at the very least, show ready with great photos and a strong pricing plan in place. The more confidence we can give the seller and their agent that your home will sell quickly, the stronger your contingent offer will look. That said, there are a few things you'll want to understand. In a competitive market, contingent offers can be seen as a bit weaker. Some sellers may hesitate to accept your offer if they're worried about your sale falling through, or if they have another buyer who doesn't have a home to sell. That's why communication and relationships matter so much here. Because if I'm representing you, I'm going to be in close contact with the listing agent to help them feel confident about our game plan. We can also build in smart strategies to make your contingent offer more appealing. For example, I might include a bridge timeline or a bump clause that allows the seller to keep showing the home but gives you first right of refusal if another offer comes in. Or, if your home is already pending, we can include a copy of the signed purchase agreement to show proof of progress. In short, contingent offers can absolutely work, especially in today's market when homes are moving steadily but not frantically. But success comes down to preparation, presentation, and positioning. I'll help you get all three aligned before we ever even write an offer. So we're not just hoping for the best, we're presenting the best possible version of your story to the seller. Another route that can give you a lot more flexibility, especially in a market that's moving at a steady but measured pace, is to sell your current home first, then either rent short term or stay with family or friends while you shop for your next home. I know this idea doesn't always sound glamorous, no one's jumping up and down at the thought of moving twice, but in reality, many of my clients are so glad they took this approach. It can dramatically reduce the pressure and help you approach your next purchase from a place of confidence instead of chaos. By selling first, you'll know exactly how much you're walking away with. That means no guessing games or surprises when it comes time to write an offer on your next home. You'll be clear on your net proceeds, how much you can comfortably put towards your down payment, and what your monthly payment range will be. That clarity matters a lot. And on top of that, your offer becomes far more attractive to sellers because you're coming in without a home sale contingency. In areas like East Vancouver, Camas, Ridgefield, or Hawkinson, where desirable homes are still drawing strong interest, being a non-contingent buyer can give you a serious edge. But let's be real, this option does come with trade-offs. You'll need to figure out a temporary living plan, whether that's a short-term rental, a flexible Airbnb, a month-to-month lease, or staying with family or friends for a bit. If you've got kids, pets, or a job that requires in-person presence, those logistics might feel overwhelming at first, but I promise we can work through them together. In fact, I've helped clients source fully furnished midterm rentals, corporate housing, and even negotiate extended stay hotel discounts to bridge the gap between closings. Another option we sometimes explore is a rent-back agreement. This is where you sell your home to the buyer, but negotiate to stay in it for 30 to 60 days after closing. You essentially become a short-term tenant while you shop for your next home. Now, not every buyer will agree to this, especially if they're also trying to coordinate a move, but it's absolutely something we can build into your offer strategy if the timing makes sense. I've successfully negotiated these agreements in many transactions, and they can be a huge win for sellers who just need a little more time to make their next move. Going this route also gives you more emotional space during your transition. When you're not scrambling to close on 2 homes within a 24-hour window, you can take your time touring homes, thinking through what you want, and writing a strong offer when the right one comes along. No panic. No pressure to settle just because the clock is ticking. Of course, it does mean you'll likely be moving twice, and that can be tiring, especially if you're navigating school changes, job transitions, or family dynamics, but I've seen firsthand how this strategy can actually make the overall experience feel less stressful, because once your home is sold and your funds are in hand, you're in a power position as a buyer. You can offer faster closings, skip the sale contingency, and put your best foot forward without hesitation. So if you're the kind of person who prefers a little more breathing room, a little more flexibility, or just wants to avoid the high-stakes balancing act of a same-day sale and purchase, then selling first and renting short-term can be a really smart move. It's not about doing what everyone else is doing. It's about making the choice that gives you the most peace of mind. And I'll be right there to help you weigh the options, find the right fit, and walk you through it every step of the way. If the thought of selling your current home before you've even found your next one makes your stomach turn, you're not alone. Some folks simply need to know where they're going before they give up where they are. If it's because you're balancing a school schedule, moving with pets, or just not wanting to feel rushed into a big decision, the idea of buying first and then selling afterwards might sound like a dream. But how do you actually do that? This is where bridge loans and home equity lines of credit, HELOCs, come into play. 2 creative financing options that allow you to leverage the equity in your current home to move forward on your next one before you sell. Let's start with the bridge loan. A bridge loan is exactly what it sounds like. A short-term loan designed to bridge the financial gap between the home you're selling and the home you're buying. Lenders will look at how much equity you have in your current property, and if you qualify, they'll lend you a portion of that equity to use as a down payment for your new home. Once your old home sells, the proceeds are then used to pay off the bridge loan. This option gives you the freedom to shop and make offers without being contingent on your sale, which can make your offer way more attractive to sellers, especially in areas of Vancouver or Ridgefield where homes are still getting multiple offers. But keep in mind, bridge loans tend to come with higher interest rates, short repayment windows, and potentially additional closing costs. You're paying for flexibility, and that cost varies lender by lender. In this route, you want to be absolutely clear on the math before you move forward. Now, Let's talk about the HELOC, or Home Equity Line of Credit. This is another way to access your home's equity without selling, but it works a little differently. A HELOC is a revolving line of credit that works more like a credit card. You can borrow against it as needed and only pay interest on the amount you use. Many homeowners open a HELOC before they list their home and use those funds as a down payment on their next purchase. HELOCs typically have lower interest rates than bridge loans and more flexible repayment terms, which makes them attractive if you're financially stable and want a cushion to work with. The catch? Most lenders won't let you open a HELOC if your home is already listed or pending, so you need to plan ahead. This is something we'd want to discuss early in your process so you don't miss that window of opportunity. Important, not every lender offers these options, and not all of them are comfortable working with scenarios that involve simultaneous closings or dual timelines. That's why I always recommend connecting with a local lender who understands both our market and the mechanics of these types of loans. And if you need referrals, I've got some excellent partners I can introduce you to who have helped many of my clients walk the same path with confidence. For some people, this route brings peace of mind and freedom. You get to find the right home first, make a strong offer, and then circle back to list your current home without the pressure of a deadline. But for others, the risk, both financially and emotionally, can feel like too much. That's totally okay. My job is to walk you through the options so you feel clear on your path, whatever that looks like. Okay, so now that we've covered the main strategies, I want to leave you with a few real-world tips that I share with every client who's trying to sell and buy at the same time. These are the things that make a huge difference when it comes to reducing stress, avoiding surprises, and getting to the finish line with your sanity intact. Tip number 1, get pre-approved early, like before you list your home. I know it might feel a little backwards. Why talk to a lender before your home is even on the market? But trust me, knowing your purchasing power ahead of time will help us build your entire strategy around real numbers. I want you to feel confident when we see a home you love, not scrambling to figure out if it's doable. And if we end up writing an offer before your current home sells, that pre-approval is non-negotiable. Tip number 2, prep your home for success. And don't wait until the last minute. Remember, you're wearing 2 hats in this process. As a seller, your job is to get top dollar and attract a buyer who's ready to move quickly. That means solid pricing, thoughtful staging, great photos, and listing timing that matches your bigger plan. We'll make a plan that works for your timeline and your lifestyle, but the earlier we start preparing, the smoother everything goes. Tip number 3, be open about your ideal timeline and your realistic timeline. Some people say, I want both homes to close on the same day. And sure, in a perfect world, we'd do exactly that. But in real estate, flexibility is your best friend. Sometimes we close one day and move the next. Sometimes you need to crash at your cousin's house for a week. I'll help you build a timeline that protects your interest, but also gives you room to breathe when life happens. Tip number 4, communicate, communicate, communicate. You don't have to have all the answers. That's what I'm here for. But I do want to know how you're feeling. If you're nervous, uncertain, or something changes with your goals, please don't hesitate to speak up. This is a big deal, and my job is to support you, not just with logistics, but with clarity, calm, and honest advice. I also stay in close communication with your lender, other agents, and the title team, so we're all working together to keep things moving smoothly. And finally, tip number 5, don't forget to protect your energy. This might sound woo-woo, but hear me out. When you're managing 2 big life transitions at once, it's easy to get overwhelmed. There will be paperwork, timelines, packing tape, and emotions, but there will also be many wins along the way. Make space to celebrate them. Let's keep this process grounded in what matters most, you finding a home that fits the next chapter of your life. Whether you're upsizing, downsizing, staying local, or moving into a whole new neighborhood, I'm here to help you do it in a way that feels thoughtful, doable, and maybe even exciting. Thank you so much for watching, truly. I know that trying to sell and buy a home at the same time can feel like a logistical nightmare, but I also know that with the right guidance, a thoughtful plan, and someone in your corner, it doesn't have to be. If you're planning a move to Southwest Washington or the Portland metro area, and you're trying to figure out how to time everything just right, how to move without losing your mind, I want you to know that you're not alone in this. I help people navigate this process every single week, and I'd be honored to help you too. You can call me, text me, email me, whatever's most comfortable for you. I really mean that. And if you're still early in the process, not quite ready to make a big decision yet, I've linked my buyer and seller questionnaire down below. It's free, it's simple, and it'll help me get a better sense of your unique situation so we can take the next step together on your timeline. And if this video helped you in any way, or if you know someone who's sitting on the fence about making a move, I'd be so grateful if you shared this with them. You never know who might be quietly struggling with these same questions, just waiting for someone to make the process feel a little more human. Before you head out, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the biggest thing you're worried about when it comes to selling and buying at the same time? Let's talk about it. I read every comment, and I really love connecting with folks who are going through this. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.